Hey guys, today we're going to be doing every Funko action figure to every Mcfarlane figure. The stage is empty right now. Well, I'm only going to be comparing them if they have if both companies have made the character, so yeah, you get the idea. Let's start. No, I will not be counting any of the re-released Mcfarlane figures because those ones, although they are different and a lot less lazy than Funko's re-releases, I still don't think it's fair to include them because then, I don't know, it just feels like it's not fair. So I'll just do the normal versions of the figures. The first release of the Mcfarlane figures are going to be the ones that I'm comparing. Alright, so let's start off with the big guy himself, Freddy Fazbear. So, as you can see, Funko's figure is obviously bigger, but I'm not going to be factoring in size because these are meant for little Lego sets. These are action figures, so yeah. So, first we're going to be comparing the sculpts on them. Mcfarlane's Freddy sculpt has a very well-designed body, especially for like a construction set. And he's also got a lot of detail on it. Especially in like the torso piece, he's got this little bib piece that goes over his torso. His arms are well sculpted. He's pretty accurate. And yeah, overall, I think the body just looks pretty good, and his microphone also looks just about perfect. Now, at the Funko's figure, I feel like since this one is meant to be the more accurate one, I do think that his feet are a little too flat. They're usually a lot bigger, or like, I don't know how to say it, but you get the idea. Freddy's feet are usually a lot bigger and not as flat as this, so that's an issue I have with the Funko body. And the paint job is also not nearly as detailed as the Mcfarlane figure, which is kind of weird, but it's still pretty good. The colors aren't quite as accurate as the Mcfarlane one, because the Mcfarlane one is kind of like that rich orangey brown that Freddy is, and then Funko went for more of a basic brown, and this color scheme actually made it to the Help Wanted model of Freddy, so yeah. But yeah, Funko's body, not too bad. I don't like how they did the joints. I don't like how they're big and silver. I don't really like it. They should be more thin or just be normal joints. I don't really care about the mixing matching part, but yeah. Mine has a little paint scuff there, but that's not a big deal, and it's just my figure. And his microphone is also pretty basic, basically the exact same thing, but it has metallic, so his microphone I do think is a lot better. So yeah, both of their bodies both have all of the same details, except this one doesn't have the joints since he's so small. But now let's compare the heads. So, as you can see, they both added upper teeth, although I do think that Mcfarlane did a much better job with the upper teeth. And also, this Freddy's head is articulated. You could take his mask off, and it's got a very detailed endoskeleton in there. And then it's also doubles as mouth articulation. See, like, you can have his mouth open. So, that's a very cool feature that Mcfarlane added on their Freddy. And I feel like they also did a much better job than Funko hiding the upper teeth, even though the upper teeth shouldn't even be there. But I do think they did a better job. One minor inaccuracy is his jaw is the lighter color when it should be the darker color. But at least he doesn't have Funko's big blocky upper teeth. His teeth are a lot smaller obviously, but I mean like in scale with his head. His teeth are just a lot smaller, and he has a lot more of them. And he also even has an endo jaw, so that's another detail. Mcfarlane Freddy's ears are a lot higher up and smaller, which I think they might be a little too small, but I do think they are good, and they are a lot better placed than Funko's, because Funko put their ears too far down, and they stick out too far. I think Mcfarlane pretty much nailed it when they placed Freddy's ears, although his ears are a bit small. And top hats, Mcfarlane is obviously better because they didn't put the stupid band on the top hat. I don't know why Funko does that. I think Funko did a better job with his eyebrows, though, but I get Mcfarlane kind of gets a pass because they're going for, like, a stylized look. But, yeah. Overall, both of these figures are good in their own ways, but just in my opinion, I think I like the Mcfarlane Freddy a lot better. I feel like he just has a lot more appeal. This guy just kind of looks depressed, but this guy, he looks like Freddy, you know? And I also like the color scheme on the... Oh, crap. I also like the color scheme on him better. So, I'm going to have to give this point to the Mcfarlane Freddy. Alright, so next up we got Bonnie. So, the bodies are exactly the same as the Freddy's, so we don't really need to comment on the shapes. But what we can comment on is the color scheme. So, I think Funko did a very good job, especially with the darker purple. I think they did a great job capturing Bonnie's color scheme. But Mcfarlane, I feel like they went a little too light with his body, so that's a little minor issue. The guitar on Funko's is very accurate, except it's missing one of the little black straps, whatever you call those, which is kind of disappointing. But he does hold it awkwardly, though. Like, he doesn't hold it quite how you hold a guitar, and you can't hold it how he's supposed to. But with Mcfarlane's figure, he holds it exactly like he's supposed to, and for this scale of figure, this is actually exactly how you would want him to hold his guitar. So, I very much like how this is, and it also is removable, so you can see it has this little peg in his torso that the guitar goes into. Now, this peg is... Crap. Alright, so now we got Chica. So, this one is probably a tough one for me because I honestly can't really tell which one I like better. So, here we got the Mcfarlane Chica. As you can see, she's got her endo teeth, she's got her opening mouth. Actually, no, this one's a little too tight. It doesn't really work on mine, but that's just mine. The candle on my cupcake actually broke off, sadly, but it used to just be a plain white stick, but it's very small, so it's impressive how detailed he is and how accurate he looks for how small he is. Chica's bib looks nice. She has 3 toes instead of 2, which is kind of weird. Like, they could have easily just chopped off this third one off to the side and it would have been fine, but they didn't. So that's kind of odd, but I do think she looks pretty good. Her eyebrows are way too thin, though, and I feel like the colors are a little too dark, but I honestly like the color scheme. But then the Funko Chica got practically nothing wrong. Like, honestly, and even with the cupcake. The only thing that I can really say is wrong is the eye color and the upper teeth. But at the same time, the upper teeth also look like how Chica's endo teeth show through in the game. So, the upper teeth on this figure are actually a little bit logical, even though they're upper teeth. So, yeah, she has the incorrect eye color, and the Mcfarlane one does, but I still think that the Funko one is actually better. I don't really have a whole lot to compare on these two, but I do think I like the Funko Chica better. Alright, so next we're going to be comparing Foxy. So, this one is a little bit tough because... Alright, let's just start with the basics. Mcfarlane's Foxy is objectively more inaccurate in a lot of ways. His eye patch is kind of weird. Like, it only goes over on one side like it does, and Funko got that right too. But Funko's eye patch just kind of awkwardly cuts off, and Mcfarlane's eye patch goes down into his head, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but... So, neither of their eye patches are that great from any other angle besides the front. But his eye is also looking straight up, which is kind of odd. His head is a little too, I don't know, thin, I guess is the way to say it. Because Foxy has a very specific head shape, and I don't think either figure got it right. His mouth, he's got his endo teeth, he's got his mouth articulation where his head opens up. Actually, well, and then he's also got his torso opens up, and you can see a bunch of gears in there. It doesn't really make sense. That's not at all what the endoskeleton looks like, but hey, when you put the bib back on, it does look good. Look at that. Looks perfect. So yeah, this Mcfarlane Foxy is pretty good in my opinion. His hook is, the base to it is a little too small, and the actual hook piece is a little too big, but I think that's just part of them stylizing it. His hand looks a lot more like a FNAF 2 endoskeleton hand, but I don't really think it matters. They probably just made an endoskeleton hand mold that they could reuse, because that's just more cost efficient and they can get sets out faster. He doesn't have any thinner limbs like the Funko one does. The Funko one has more thin limbs compared to the other characters. But Foxy, they made a chunky Foxy, which I don't really mind. The pants do not have any holes in them on the Mcfarlane one, and his teeth, it does teeth. No, his feet. He actually doesn't have toes, and they just kind of go flat, which is pretty strange, honestly. I don't get how they did that. Like, why would they not give... just weird. Just a weird design choice. But, yeah, he's got his hair is also a little too long. This is a very inaccurate Foxy, but I also think he's kind of adorable, so I can't... You can look at him. Look at this guy. But, yeah, Funko's Foxy. The head mold isn't all that accurate, but it also... I don't think it's that awful. He's bright orange for whatever reason. Like, this one got kind of a red, kind of the right red color. Maybe it should be a little darker, but Funko made theirs bright orange for some reason. And they did re-release it and make him dark red, but remember, I'm not doing re-releases. He does have the brown eyebrows and eyelid like he should, which is good. His eye is the correct color for once. His teeth are nicely detailed. Although all the Funko figures do have this black bar in the mouth, so I feel like that's kind of lazy. His torso has no paint on the endoskeleton, which is dumb. His hook is way too small, like the hook part is way too small. The base is perfect, but the actual hook part is extremely small. His neck is also very wobbly. And his hand is extremely accurate. That is like a perfect endo hand. He's got the little fur on his shoulders. His head fur looks fine. His ears look fine. His legs look just about perfect. I guess there's not quite enough detail on the feet, but I feel like that's fine. Overall, oh god, he fell. Alright, so I really don't like either Foxy all that much. Actually, no, I love them. I love all the Mcfarlane figures, but I'm ranking them on, like, accuracy and detail. The Mcfarlane Foxy is way better with his color scheme and his paint job, and I think he just is a lot more appealing. I don't know, no, he's not more. I just like how cute he looks. I like him, but his eye does awkwardly go up, and his head. I'm gonna give this one to the Funko Foxy, just because the Funko one got more details right technically, but. Aesthetically, I think I like this one better, but I think Funko Foxy should win this one. Alright, so now we got Golden Freddy. I think this is pretty obvious. Obviously, I gotta pick this one since it wouldn't be fair if I said Funko Freddy was worse, but then I didn't say Funko Golden Freddy was worse. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Funko Golden Freddy. Neither of them hollowed out the eyes. They both just reused the same mold, which... honestly, it bothered me at first when these figures first came out, but I've kind of gotten numb to it. Like, it doesn't really matter anymore to me, but yeah, I guess I just kind of technically have to pick this guy. He's also a lot more detailed and his color is more accurate, so I honestly like him better anyway. Alright, so now we got Springtrap. Now, if you're any bit familiar with the Mcfarlane line, you would know that Springtrap is one of their worst figures. Like, he is, like, very bad compared to what they usually make. His torso is very not detailed. His hands are basic. His arms look pretty good, though. I like his arms. His legs, though, they didn't detail anything. They literally didn't put any withering. They didn't even do the endo feet. His head... oh god, his nose. It's so long. What is he this is not, he's supposed to be a bunny, you realize, right? Springtrap, one of the characters with the most Springtrap has, like, one of the shortest snouts in the entire series, but for some reason they gave him this thing, and I don't understand. And he doesn't, inside, I colored that red, because, I don't know, it was dumb, but when I first got this figure, I colored him red, but, yeah, he has an endoskeleton, which is, he obviously wrong. His face, I guess the paint on his eyes is fine, but it just kind of, he just kind of looks sad. And then his ears are quite flat on the back, but not much different from the original Bonnie ears besides being withered. But yeah, I don't even need to explain that much more why. I don't need to explain Funko's. I don't really like Funko's Springtrap's face, but definitely beats Mcfarlane Springtrap from a long shot. Maybe not color-wise, though. Mcfarlane got his green color pretty spot on. Funko made it too light. Alright, so next comparison is going to be Nightmare Freddy. So, Nightmare Freddy, let's just start off with the Mcfarlane one like usual. They did make a new mold for his legs, so he had some withering on there, which I appreciate. His legs are very hard to do withering on because, you know, they have pegs through them, and the bottom piece is so small. So I think for what they had, they did a great job applying withering to this guy's legs. Even though, you know, it's supposed to be like his feet are ripped open, but they're not here. His torso is basically a little too fat. Like, Nightmare Freddy isn't very fat like normal Freddy. But this is basically just a withered version of their FNAF 1 torso. It's just reusing assets, but same arms as Springtrap had, which is perfect for Nightmare Freddy because he's very withered. His hands have these big claws on them. For such a tiny figure, these claws are actually pretty sharp, and I think they look really good. And his face is also very good. They got his eyes spot on. They got his teeth spot on. You can open up his mouth a little bit. You can see he's still got the endoskeleton inside there. He's got 2 rows of teeth. Not on the top, though. But he's got 2 rows of teeth. And for some reason, the teeth loop all the way around his head, which isn't necessarily accurate, but I really like it. I think it looks rad, for lack of a better word. But yeah, his ears got a big bite taken out of it. He's got some holes in his hat. Just a very detailed for how small he is. Like, look, this is him next to my hand. This guy is tiny. But now we got Nightmare Freddy. So, Funko's Nightmare Freddy, I feel like his head sculpt is very accurate. Like, if you take the FNAF 4 icon and you put him in the same angle, you can see they got the head shape pretty spot on. His teeth might be a little too small, but that's not too big of a deal. Although his eyes are pretty bad. Like, they're just normal. They're basically just black eyes with orange dots when they should be, like, silver with lines and a little red dot in the middle. And Mcfarlane definitely did that. So, downside for Funko, his hat, though, is very well detailed. There's a lot of detail going on with his hat. He's got the wires sticking through it, too. So, I really like how they did his hat. His torso, he has waist articulation. The Mcfarlane figures did that before them, though. Like, yeah, see, look, he's got waist. But he's got waist articulation, so that's pretty neat. And you can see the endo inside of there, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of black space on this torso, though. But that's to be expected since these figures are hollow on the inside. He's got the endo kind of sticking through the middle, which is cool. I feel like his claws are way too small, though. Like, these are tiny claws. I wouldn't even be scared of this guy. Look how tiny those are. Not even, like, they're supposed to be, like, giant nails sticking out of his fingers, but they're so tiny. But, yeah. Pretty I don't know, it's just not a very impressive Nightmare Freddy. Like, for how well they did Springtrap, it's kind of weird how this Nightmare Freddy just isn't very impressive. So, I'm definitely going to give this point to Mcfarlane, because this is a good figure. Not to say this one is a bad figure, but it's just not as impressive as the Mcfarlane one. Alright, so now we got Nightmare Bonnie. So, this guy is awesome looking. If you can see so, let's start with Funko's for a change. So, his torso is ripped open. You can see all of his endoskeleton and his wires. Looks pretty cool. I think both of these figures look great, by the way. But yeah, his claws, still tiny, but I think it looks a lot better on this endo hand just because you can actually see the kind of nail look. So, I think this endo hand is very nice. I really like how they actually detailed that. For Funko, you think they would have just reused the other Nightmare Freddy hand and painted it blue, but nope. He's got an endoskeleton foot. He's got his other foot is ripped open. He's got all the withering. Same withering as Nightmare Freddy because they just reused the mold for most of the body. The head is pretty accurate. Something just a little bit off about it, but it's nothing too major. His eyes are white for some reason. I don't know why they didn't paint him black like the other Nightmares, but I guess it's an improvement. I still should be silver, though. They have the silver paint literally right there, so kind of no excuse not to paint them silver. But up on his ears are very nicely detailed. And yeah, overall, just a very nice figure. Again, I do think his teeth are a little too small, just like it was with Nightmare Freddy. But overall, I like that guy. Alright, now let's move on to Nightmare Bonnie. Oh my god, Mcfarlane nailed his head. Like, they did perfect. He actually has another complaint about Funkos. There's nothing in that whole giant hole in his head. Like, seriously, could they not have detailed anything? But then look at Mcfarlane's. You can see the endoskeleton, you can see the red wires. That looks awesome. His eyes are a little plain, but I do appreciate the detail on them anyway because it's better than Funko's. He's got that giant jaw like he's supposed to. No teeth that loop all the way around the head, but that's not a big deal. Because that's not even an accurate detail. But his mouth still opens. His ears are very big, and his ears are like almost the whole size of the Funko one's ears. So like pretty big ears for this guy, but I think it works out since he's got the 3 segmented ears. He kind of needs big ears on this small of a figure. But then he's got his torso ripped open, looks great. He's got his hands. The claws aren't quite as big on this one. Actually, no, he doesn't have claws. What? So yeah, I guess he doesn't have claws. I never noticed that, but yeah. He doesn't have the endo hand, though, which is kind of disappointing. They could have I think they should have at least, painted some of this hand silver, but he's very small, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. His arms look pretty good. Is there gray in there? I can't really tell. Is there gray, and it's just blending in with the blue, or is there not any gray? I think there is gray for the endoskeleton, but it's just blending in. His legs are pretty basic, but he does have a completely unique mold for this foot, which this mold would have been perfect for Springtrap, but I think it's fine here on Nightmare Bonnie. It fits. So yeah, I mean, I love the head on Mcfarlane's, but I like the Funko body more. So this one I'm just gonna put in. I don't know which one to pick because I like both of these a lot. Alright, sorry if there's some background noise, but here's Nightmare Chica. So, here you can see the Nightmare Cupcake. Looks perfect. Couldn't ask for anything better. Same tiny claws, although her body is actually more bulky than the other Nightmares, which I appreciate. Torso, you can see the endo, the ripped bib, it's just very well detailed. These legs are also very well detailed. You can see, all the endo sticking through, even on the upper legs. So, completely unique mold for almost every part of this figure, which is amazing. The head, the teeth paint is just awful. That is horrendous. But, and again, the teeth are a little too small. I feel like her head is too fat, and her eyes are... The red eye is correct, although it should have silver. But then this eye should just be gray, so... That's kind of weird that they made it blue. There's still no silver in the eyes. There's also not a lot of... I like the dirty effects on this one, though. They did a good job. You can see the wires and the endoskeleton holding her head up. So, yeah, this figure... I love the body. They did this perfectly. But the head definitely needs some work. So, yeah, not a very good head, but a great body. Here for the Mcfarlane Chica. So... Then her Nightmare Cupcake is obviously worse, but it's so small that it's impressive they even got that detail in. Look at those teeth. I'm really surprised they got that. But, again, still looks worse than the Funko one. Kind of unfairly, though. Got some really nice dirt effects. Got some nice claws. Ripped up bib. Unique torso piece. The legs actually have some printing for the withering, although it is just little black shapes, but still nice, pretty good effort. Her toes have, some of them are black, which I think is kind of lazy. Like, I feel like for a character like Nightmare Chica with such, like, I feel like this figure should have had, like, some kind of unique feet mold. Or at least they should have painted them, like, silver or something, because I think just black just looks kind of weird. Like, it looks like they were trying to paint, like, nails on her, but then they just forgot. So kind of weird. And then the face, it is skinnier, but it's this opposite of Funko. Instead of being too fat, it's too skinny. So they didn't get the head shape quite right, but I do think it looks pretty good. Got quite a long beak for Nightmare Chica, but not that big of a deal. Got the correct 3 rows of teeth, though. You can see it in there. Sorry, I accidentally ripped it off trying to take the head off. Yeah, so you can see 3 rows of teeth on Nightmare Chica. And is it on the top row? No, the top row only has 2 rows of teeth, but still 3 rows of teeth like it should have. So very nice that they actually got that detail in. Nice, some wires sticking out. The head thing has the endo in it, which it does have the endo here, although it's not painted. I have no idea why Bonnie didn't have an endo and this one does, but I wish this was painted. Eyes are silver like they should be. This gray eye is perfect, but the eye that's supposed to be red is orange, which is strange. These hair tufts are a little more like FNAF 1 Chicas than they are like Nightmare Chicas. Funko did a better job with that. But this is another, I think I'm gonna, same situation as Nightmare Bonnie. I love the body on this one, but I don't really like the head. And I don't really like the body all that much on this one, but then I really like the head, so I don't know. Can't decide on that one. Like them both. Alright, so now we're going to be doing Nightmare Foxy. So, as you can see, Funko obviously wins with accuracy. Like, this figure is probably one of the best ones Funko's ever made. He still has the eye issue, but everything else is perfect about him. Like, his teeth paint is very good. His body is very well done, especially the legs. The legs are pretty much perfect. I overall just really like Funko's Nightmare Foxy. Although, I don't like how much black is showing through in his torso. I feel like that needs more detail. But, besides that, I think this is actually a pretty good figure, all things considered. This is a very good figure for Funko. Still got the tiny claws, though, which I don't like, but let's look at Mcfarlane's Nightmare Foxy. So, as you can see, he's got kind of an inaccurate color scheme. Like, for some reason I made it yellow here, but as you can see, very detailed sculpt. Not very accurate, but, you know, Mcfarlane isn't supposed to be accurate, so that's to be expected. As you can see, very detailed sculpt. The feet are not nearly as perfect as Funko's, but they are very small, so you gotta give him the pass. His arms are that same withered mold that looks great. His hook is the same as all the other Foxies, so they didn't bother to change that, which I don't really mind. Torso, he does have an endo in there, though, so that's a big improvement. He does have an endo in that torso. And his jaw does kind of get chopped off at one end, which is actually on the Funko figure, but it's a lot more slight. You know, like, it does go out further on one side, but it is a lot more slight. Mcfarlane definitely exaggerated that detail, but yeah, Mcfarlane still has the articulated mouth, although his mouth does not close all the way, unlike the other characters. So that is a strange thing. Although, unlike some of the other characters, unlike some of the other Mcfarlane figures, his endo head is actually not red or anything. It's actually silver, like it should be. So that is a good thing about this figure. So I do like that. And, you know, you can have his mouth really open if you want it to. Like, you can have it like, ah, or you can just have it normal. So, yeah. Overall, I'm gonna say I have to pick the Funko one just because I love how he looks awesome. Although I do really love the detail on the Mcfarlane one, but I still got to give the point to the Funko one. Sorry, Mcfarlane Foxy, I still like you though. Wait. Alright, so next up is the biggest Funko figure, Nightmarrione. So, Nightmarrione, he has the, let's just go over the main differences, because there's not a whole lot. Funko took a different approach on his hands. They did it, like, more, like, wrapped together for this thing, for the tentacles. But Mcfarlane did it more accurately and more appealingly and made it all separated. So, I like how Mcfarlane did that better. But Funko also added, like, the twisty limbs, which Mcfarlane didn't. I don't expect them to add the twisty limbs on the legs, but I did expect them to do it on the arms, which they didn't, so, which is kind of weird. The tentacles and the mask on Funkos are white, like they should be, but for some reason, Mcfarlane made them gray, which is quite strange. But Funko did the torso pretty well. They had a little rib cage. Nothing really too noteworthy. They got the bony limbs. And then for the face, it's actually very similar in the sculpt, except Mcfarlane, I don't know, Mcfarlane sculpt looks a little less accurate, but I don't know, if I had to pick one, I'd have to pick Mcfarlane's Nightmarrione, because I feel like these figures are both pretty equal in a lot of departments, but I do think that Mcfarlane's is better because Funko's can't stand on its own, and Funko's limbs just boop. See, didn't even try. I didn't even pull on it. All right, so now we got Baby Funko Baby versus Mcfarlane Baby. So as you can see, the details are pretty much they actually have pretty similar sculpts. Although Mcfarlane's Baby is a little fatter around the face. Mcfarlane given an endo hand in this hand, which is kind of strange looking, how one of the hands is completely different than the other. So that's pretty bizarre. But then Mcfarlane definitely packed a lot of detail into their baby. When you take into consideration how small this thing is, like it even has the endo teeth inside. And it just looks pretty good. Although I do think the hair is way too orange, and for some reason orange lipstick, it just doesn't make sense. So because of the bright orange hair and the orange lipstick, I think this point should automatically go to Funko's, because actually no, because I don't know, this one's a tie, because I don't like the color scheme on the Mcfarlane Baby, but I also like the paint job on the face better because I like the face plates and the eyes better. But I like the colors on the Funko one way better, and I think the sculpt is better. So, I don't know. I guess this one's a tie. Alright, so here we got Funtime Freddy. So, Funko's Funtime Freddy is a very nicely done figure. The biggest issue he has is that his hat is way too big. Like, Funtime Freddy has a very small hat, but for some reason Funko made it very big. But besides that, his body is pretty much perfect. There's no real issues. His microphone looks perfect too. Bonbon's eyes are very small though, and it makes him look extra creepy, which Bonbon isn't really a creepy character. Then Funtime Freddy's face sculpt is pretty much perfect. They got all the purple accents right. Overall, I think Funko's Funtime Freddy is just one of their best figures. He's very good. But then we got Mcfarlane's Funtime Freddy, where his sculpt isn't as accurate, but I think the paint around his face is phenomenal. You can even see, like, the endo inside of his eyes. Like, look at that. You can even see, like, the detail of the endo around the inside of his eye sockets. And, like, his eye paint is very detailed, like... And then look at Bonbon. Look how detailed Bonbon is. And he's so tiny. Like, look, this is my finger. Bonbon is insanely detailed. So, just for... Okay, Funko's is an amazing figure still. But, oh my god, Mcfarlane just really put their all into this Funtime Freddy. if his ears were a little higher up and bigger, then I think that would be better with Mcfarlane's Funtime Freddy. But I still think their Funtime Freddy is amazingly detailed. My only complaint is the black speaker, but no, this figure is amazingly detailed. Alright, so next up we got Funtime Foxy. So, as you can see with this figure, they're very different. Like, this is a pretty hard comparison to do, but let's just start with Mcfarlane's. As you can see, there's the gray around the eyes. No pink eyelids, though. But, yeah, you got the gray around the eyes for the endo. Got gray teeth, which is kind of strange. And also the muzzle is very flat, which is also strange, but from the front it looks fine. It just has a very weird side profile. The top of the ears and the head look fine. All the right paint job. Black speaker again, but whatever. Very nice detail on the torso, very accurate. The hands look good, the fingernails. You got the tail, nice. Then you got the legs with the gray accents, looks great. And then the feet. So, Mcfarlane definitely did a great job turning Funtime Foxy into a figure. The only detail that they didn't get, that Funko did, was the pink eyelids and the little dots. But I don't even know how Mcfarlane would have gotten those little dots. But if you look at this one, as you can see, the eyes, again, I don't really like how Funko does their eyes with like no detail or anything. It's just like the most basic way they could have possibly painted it. And also, Funko's Funtime Foxy has very derpy eyes. Like, yeah, Mcfarlane's is also pretty derpy, but at least their eye, it's not like going cross-eyed. But, yeah, you got this one kind of looks brain dead. There's actually like little lines on the neck to make it look like it's an endoskeleton. I have no idea why this is the only figure they've ever done that on, but cool. The head sculpt is very nice, though. Very good head sculpt, I will say. Got a very nice looking speaker. Perfect torso mold. No complaints there. Perfect leg mold. Perfect arms. Pretty much a perfect sculpt on Funko's besides the face. So, I still am going to have to go with Funko's because I really like how Funko did their sculpt. It's very good. Alright, so now let's do Ballora. So, first thing to say right off the bat, Funko added a base to their Ballora, which I have no idea why no other figures have came with a base. This looks great. I really want more figures to come with bases. Hopefully in the future, but yeah, that is a very great detail that Funko added. But as you can see with Ballora, nice detail. Mcfarlane definitely did a really good job for how small this figure is. Not really much to comment on, though. I'm pretty sure the fingernails are the wrong color. Funko didn't even paint the fingernails, but I'm pretty sure they're the wrong color on this one. But I do think the sculpt on Funko's is way better, but the paint jobs both aren't really that great. Except for, yeah, they're both pretty smudgy paint jobs, so, oh, crap. Well, whatever, Funko won anyway. Alright, so next let's do Lolbit. So, as you can see, Funko did give Lolbit eyebrows, which is not good, but they also did an awful job with the paint job on the face. Like, that is horrendous. That has got to be one of the worst paint jobs in any Funko figure. And also, and I'm not the only person with that paint job. I've seen many other people with that kind of paint job on their Lolbit. The hook is fine, though. I like the hook. Mcfarlane's hook is on the opposite hand, which is strange. All the paint on the body is fine, since it's the same mold as Funtime Foxy. But I will say, just because of I don't like how this one looks, I like how the Mcfarlane one looks better. And some people complain about how they just painted over the eyebrows, but it's barely noticeable. You can barely even see the eyebrows, so I think Mcfarlane should win. Alright, so next we got Ennard. So my Funko is Ennard. If you didn't know, Alright, take two. If you didn't know, the sister location figures have probably the lowest quality joints out of all of the waves. The sister location figures, my Funtime Foxy, Funtime Freddy, and Baby all have cracked knees. and my Ballora has a cracked arm, and I barely ever play with, I don't play with them or anything. They're just been sitting on a shelf, and then I went to move, they just crack over time. The joints on the sister location figures are very bad, but my Ennard definitely got it the worst since his entire arm joint cracked, so yeah, it sucks. Luckily, these guys are getting re-released soon, so I'll be able to pick them back up. So, hopefully I can get a new wave of them, and I can get a new Ennard. But, yeah. Let's compare him to the Mcfarlane one. So, as you can see, he got a very accurate sculpt. Although Mcfarlane, Mcfarlane's Ennard is very small, but this detail is just great. And the eyes sure are different sizes on, like, they're all inconsistent with size, but I think it's fine. He's even got the wires sticking out. Funko didn't even do that, and their figure's bigger. So, yeah. And his hat actually has the stripes, unlike Funko's. And his head just looks great. He's got all the details that he needs. And the best part about him... So, I wonder if any of you guys didn't know about this, but his mask actually comes off. And he actually has the face under there. So, this is probably one of the coolest Mcfarlane figures. Maybe the coolest Mcfarlane figure. But yeah, I love this figure so much. They did an amazing job with Ennard, especially with that removable face. It looks awesome. I really wish Funko did that, but yeah. Mcfarlane definitely wins just for that removable face. That is amazing. Alright, so now we're going to be doing the final comparison, which is Rockstar Freddy and Lefty versus Mcfarlane Rockstar Freddy and Lefty. So, Funko's head sculpt for these characters suck. Like, I don't even care that they reused the mold for Lefty. This head sucks. It does not look like Rockstar Freddy or Lefty at all. It's just not good. It's not a good sculpt at all. And they didn't even bother to switch the hands for Lefty so he could actually be left-handed. He's literally named after being left-handed, but he's not left-handed. So, yeah. This head sculpt is bad. Lefty is holding his microphone in the wrong hand. But when you look at Mcfarlane, this is a perfect head sculpt. Like, I can't even name anything bad about it. It looks just like Rockstar Freddy. It's a great sculpt, and they are holding their microphones in the correct hands, and their microphones are actually the right shape, unlike these guys' microphones. So, yeah. Mcfarlane wins by a long shot. Good job, Mcfarlane. So, yeah, that is my Funko versus Mcfarlane comparison. Comment down below which company you think makes better figures. And remember to like and subscribe. Sorry for background noise.